a former FBI director, a cryptic Instagram post in a firestorm of controversy. James Comey's latest social media move has MAGA supporters asking, was this a veiled threat against President Trump? On May 15, James Comey posted a seemingly innocent beach photo, but eagle-eyed observers quickly noticed the numbers 8647, a combination that in political circles carries a chilling implication. In restaurant slang, 86 means to remove something. In political discourse, some interpret it as a call for elimination. At 47, well, that's a clear reference to Donald Trump, the 47th President of the United States. The reaction was swift. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem announced that federal law enforcement, including the Secret Service, is investigating the post. Trump himself weighed in, saying Comey knew exactly what that meant, and calling it a loud and clear call for assassination. Comey later deleted the post, claiming he didn't realize the numbers had violent connotations. But MAGA supporters aren't buying it. So could Comey face legal consequences? Under U.S. law, making threats against the president, even indirectly, can trigger federal investigations. The Secret Service has confirmed they're taking this matter seriously. Some lawmakers are calling for Comey to be prosecuted under the statutes related to interstate communication of threats. If authorities determine that Comey's post was an intentional threat, he could face serious legal repercussions. But proving intent, that's the tricky part. This isn't Comey's first clash with Trump. From the Russia investigation to his firing in 2017, he's been a central figure in some of the most contentious moments in modern politics. But this time the stakes are higher than ever. Was this just an innocent beach photo, or was it a coded message with sinister intent? Watch this clip of Tulsi Gabbard's interview with Jesse Waters and let us know what you think in the comments below.
Fox News alert, Homeland Security just launched an investigation into former FBI Director James Comey for threatening to 86 President Trump. Comey posted this picture of seashells spelling out 8647, claiming he just ran into him on the beach. Comey says he knew it was a political message, but didn't know what 86 meant. Tulsi Gabbard's the director of national intelligence. Are you buying that the former FBI director didn't know what 86 Trump meant?
Absolutely not, Jesse. That is a ridiculous and insane statement to make, certainly within this context, but especially coming from a guy who's the former director of the FBI, a guy who spent most of his career prosecuting mobsters and gangsters, people who know and execute other humans and use this exact lingo of 86. Comey himself admitted in his follow-on message that he knew that this was a political statement. Well, the only reason he knew that, Jesse, was because a little over a month ago, a bunch of anti-Trump, anti-Elon Musk protesters were proliferating the use of this 8647 slogan, which was a veiled call to action to murder the sitting president of the United States. So for Comey to think that we, the American people, are so stupid as to think that he, as a former FBI director, former prosecutor, and someone who clearly pays attention to what's going on, would believe his lie that he didn't know what this actually was calling for. The dangerousness of this, Jesse, cannot be underestimated. When we have 2 assassination attempts on the president's life, when we have people who look to guys like Comey, who've been celebrated by MSNBC and the Democrat elite and CNN as the beacon of integrity, the law and order guy, the guy who would tell the truth no matter what the consequences. This is the guy who's issuing a hit on President Trump, the president that the American people voted for. So it's guys like Comey and others who call the president the modern day Nazi, people who are in great positions of influence, who are saying that President Trump poses an existential threat to our country. These are people who hate democracy and hate the American people because they cannot stand that the people overwhelmingly chose to elect Donald Trump and send him back to the White House. So they are seeking other means to get their way and to try to remove him from that position.
How serious is the administration taking this, and what are the next steps going to be?
We're taking this very seriously. As you mentioned, the Department of Homeland Security, and specifically Sean Curran, the current Secret Service director, a man who has been willing to lay down his life as the lead of President Trump's Secret Service detail for years now. He takes this seriously and is leading the investigation into this threat. There has to be accountability for this. There was a Rutgers study that just came out a little over a month ago, Jesse, that asked respondents their view on these calls to assassinate President Trump. And over 55% of respondents felt that murdering President Trump would be, quote unquote, somewhat justified. This is the effect of people like James Comey doing this kind of stuff. This study also pointed out that there is a quote unquote assassination culture that is starting to take over the views of what they call the extreme left. We, the American people, cannot take this lightly. Whatever your politics, we cannot allow people to get by without being held accountable for this kind of public call to assassinate the President of the United States.
Do you believe that Comey is goading you guys to come after him because he wants to be a political martyr? He wants to be set up so he can say, oh, look, we were right. Donald Trump is a dictator. They're coming after me. They're arresting me. They're interrogating me. I was just using my free speech.
You know, whatever his intent, I will tell you that there is a guy in Georgia who was issuing threats on my life about a month ago, and he's in jail today. He has been indicted with a crime, as he should have been, and he is in jail as we speak. So whatever James Comey intent, he and people like him need to be held to account according to the law, which is something that he claims to have given his life for and stands by the rule of law. Fantastic. The rule of law says people like him who issue direct threats against the President of the United States, essentially issuing a call to assassinate him, must be held accountable under the law.
Do you believe Comey should be in jail?
I do. Any other person with a position of influence that he has, people who take very seriously what a guy of his stature, his experience, and what the propaganda media has built him up to be, I'm very concerned for the president's life. We've already seen assassination attempts. I'm very concerned for his life. And James Comey, in my view, should be held accountable and put behind bars for this.